Hello, happy Tuesday, everybody, and welcome to your daily lighting critique. We've double checked and we've got audio today, which is great. I'll repeat a couple of the things I said at the start of yesterday. First off, thank you to Francesco Giraldini for coming in the last couple of weeks, providing his incredible paintovers. We've got 2 days, a day and a half, less than 2 days, left in the lighting challenge, which we see here. It's the Star Heist robot fight. And so yeah, get your images, get your movies posted, and we will take a look there. Today we've got one video submission here, and then a few images. So let's start with Andre's robot fight. So this was the previous version. This is the updated. So what's going on? So you added motion blur, and it's creating some craziness. Is that what's going on? Oh, you're muted. Andre, you're muted. I can't hear you. Let's see if I can.
Yes, I added motion blur on this one, and this bunch of weird stuff came up.
Yeah.
On her hair and the robot and stuff. But I wanted to put, well, and that's a question I have. I wanted to add DOF, a little blur in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment I put any keyframe on the camera, then the camera doesn't move anymore, and it basically just stays stationary. So I was wondering, when that happens, do I just have to redo the whole camera move? Because the camera doesn't have any keyframes on it.
That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, so I guess it's being referenced in, and the second you set a keyframe on the referenced object, it then breaks the other animation.
Yeah, I guess something like that.
Weird. My guess is find out where it's being referenced in from, and then just straight import it. Like you can right click in the reference editor and tell it to actually import the camera, so that'll import it along, so it won't be reading the settings from somewhere else. That would be my guess. It might be baked in that case, in which case you may not be able to do that. In which case you can just use the Z depth and create the depth of field in Nuke or in the post process. Mm-hmm. So that would be another option too.
The only thing is I'm not going to be able to figure that out for tomorrow.
Sure. Sure. That's
not going to happen.
Yeah. So this motion blur thing is interesting. So I don't have an answer, but the one thing I would say is, like, normally if we see, like, if just like one of the objects was like popping on one frame, I would say, oh, there's probably just like a stray, because sometimes you can create a keyframe on like a fraction of a frame. So instead of like frame 101 is fine, 102 is fine, but 101.5, like in there, there'll be like a random point on the curve map. But for it to be happening across all these different objects, I don't know. So this is Maya using Arnold, correct?
Yeah.
I haven't seen, unless others just did.
Could it be you don't have enough samples, maybe? And so it's just trying to figure out the blur with few samples?
I would be surprised, because motion blur just interpolates the motion between frames and doesn't necessarily need, there's subframe sampling that goes on, but it doesn't really need that much in order to calculate. It just looks like it's trying to, it's like the knife, like just looking at the knife, it just looks like it's leaving his hand and zooming back in. I'm just not sure. So if it's unsolvable for tomorrow, just leave motion blur off if you can, because it's a little, I would rather that than have it like have her, her hair look like this.
Yeah.
Because that's so weird. But
the way I fixed her hair, because her hair was doing that to me too, it's not tracking right or whatever, I just duplicated her hair, so she's just got 2 layers of hair, and it gets rid of all the bald spots for the most part. That's even with the new cache. It just doesn't stick to her head right. I don't know why. So I just duplicated it and stuck it on top, and it's fine.
Yeah, mine does the same thing. So it's something with the cache or how they did it.
That's interesting. Okay, that's good. I might chime in with them.
And I also did the brightening of the robot when it's sliding down the
Yeah,
floor.
this looks really good. I think maybe on the back can go a little bit brighter.
Okay.
But the underside looks much better. I think it looks really cool. I think overall, yeah, the depth of field will help a lot. I think overall, the lighting is looking pretty good. I would also create more bloom behind her with this light coming in through this doorway. Like kind of bloom it up so it almost creates like a halo around her.
Okay.
And depending on how bright you go with it, you could even, because one of the things, like I would like for her to be more in the middle of this doorway, a little more balanced, but we can fake that we can bloom it a little bit more strongly on this side than on this side, and kind of center it that way.
Okay.
And then I wonder if we cannot. Let's see, I wonder if, like, this amount of brightness feels right with that big open door to outside light, but it feels equally as bright as over here. I wonder if we couldn't make the edge of this hall, like the back end of that hallway, slightly darker. Keep the brightness here, and then what that would do too is create, because what I'm looking for is for there to be a more of a variation difference in the brightness back by this door versus, like, I want it to be brighter here, and then as it comes around this corner to go a little bit darker, just to create a little more variation, because I think visually that'll lead us right back to her. And over top of the robot. I think that's cool. If you can. If not, yeah.
If I do that, when she's kicking the robot, won't it make the robot disappear again? Because like the whole thing is like
not on the ground. Like, you know what? I take back the note on making the top of him brighter, because I think if we take, because what I'm talking about is more on the walls and on the than on the ground, and I think.
Like right there, like
I think there's enough like bright highlights on him that it'll be okay.
Okay.
I think it'll be okay. I mean, I'm not talking like a drastic difference. I mean, bringing it down like 15%.
Okay.
I love talking about things in percentages because they seem so exact, but they're so abstract. Like, whenever I've worked with an art director that talks in percentages, it's always like you have to kind of know their personality to know what that means. Like if they're more laid back, if they're like a low key person, like 20% could really mean could end up being like a lot, but yeah.
And it's like, and it's also like relative, because it's like,
yeah,
what is it, like 15% power light, which makes almost no difference at all.
Yeah, like exposure.
You're gonna go like one stop at least like 50%.
That's right. I should have talked to
15% in lightness on the material, which means a lot more.
I should just say what I really mean, which is just take it down a little. Like, so for me, like if I say 15%, I mean a little. If I say 30, I mean some, and if I say 50, I mean a lot. Like I'll just say it in lame. I'll say it that way from now on. Okay, cool. But everything else, I think it's looking really nice.
Cool.
It's very, very, like, it's sleek. Like this is a sleek looking shot. I mean, we've gotten a couple submissions, and I just love how, like, I was worried when this one, my concern, which is always there, is like that the final result of these is that they would all look kind of the same, and it just isn't the case at all in this one. It's looking so good. All right, Abhishek, you're here. Welcome back. So this is a nice improvement over yesterday's. There's like the colors looking a lot better. I like you don't do that. I like the blue walls a lot. I think that's certainly helping. In fact, you know what? Just give me a sec. I'm going to pull in yesterday's, just so we can see the progress. Eyes look a ton better. Everything's coming together a lot more nicely. The room feels a lot better. the shadows, the staging is starting to really come together nicely. A few things that I would want you to work on for now is I'm not convinced yet that this light is creating this, and it's not because of the light on the ground. It's because like this would get brighter, right? Like if this is made out of, I'm not quite sure what the material is on the lamp, but if it's glass, we would see the bulb under there. If it was like some sort of fabric, we would see it brighter here. Regardless of what it is, we would see a little bit of that light source under there. So I'd like for you to try and get that, and then just double check. It's tough to see. Just double check that this is creating a shadow correctly from that. I think it is, but it's just kind of a weird edge. The other thing that I was looking at that I was trying to reconcile was that there's a little bit of dead area, especially on this side, and a little bit on this side, and I'm trying to figure out. This side's actually a little bit better because there's a couch that kind of extends off. I almost want to put like a painting or something back here so that continues on. But the other thought that I had was, what if there was like a rug under the table or something that was on the ground here that could kind of break up that space a little bit. It's just, there's just something about it that it feels like, because there's not enough things continuing off camera, it feels a little bit like a set. The specularity on the tentacles is still looking good. Looks better on the skin. The cigarette's fun. And then just watch out for these shadows are a little bit hard edged. I would soften that. Oh, and then the third thing that I would like for you to work on, and I guess this is more of a comp thing, is just getting the glow from the TV a little bit, and getting that to kind of breed out a little more. I guess that would be like that. Yeah, there we go. Just to kind of read that there's a little bit of glow there. And then I think we could actually go a little darker back on this wall back behind it, because all the light is kind of focused over here, and with this light shining out, I think this back wall can go a little bit darker. And then the last question that I have, and you don't have to answer this live if you are unavailable to talk, that's okay, is I guess it's okay. I was just looking at the curtains just now, and there's two things about them. Like, one is that they extend all the way to the ceiling, and usually, but there's like no bar or any indication that you can close them, and usually there's like a little bit of a gap just because there needs to be some room there. And two is that usually the curtains are over a window, and it looks like they're kind of covering a bookshelf, which is kind of cool actually. But I just wanted to make sure that was something that you were intending. That's not a problem. I think it's more that like it. But it kind of looks like there could be like a little bit of a gap up there or something. I'm not really sure what's going on back there. But just for these, if this is the edge of the ceiling against the wall, you just want to bring these down and so you can see the top of it a little bit. But overall, I think okay.
Mike, I was just thinking to add the ceiling lights at the edge of the ceiling.
I wouldn't. I think we have enough light sources in here that adding more would add complexity. I think we need darkness around these edges with a little bit more like like I said, like objects kind of rolling off, because that was one of the things that was nice about like all of these references, especially this one. There's like the thing on the wall, the couch going off, this basket going off, soccer ball, rug, that like this. There's this continuation of the cabinetry. There's these objects that are around the edge. Here there's like hands. There's stuff on the perimeter because in a lot of these, especially the two photographic references, we're more zoomed in, and we're like focusing in on this one small part of a larger scene, and you need to demonstrate that more things go on. But and same thing here. So I just want to see a little bit more.
Okay.
Cool. All right, great. We will come back to Diana.
Bye.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Did you have any other? Actually, I should ask you. Do you have any other questions before we move on?
No, I just thinking that how can we do this darkness? I didn't get actually properly.
And I'm sorry, what was the last part of that?
How could I manage to give the darkness?
Yeah, I think the biggest one, the biggest way of doing that is well, two. There's a couple ways. Number one is that for this kind of overall thing, we it will be nice to just add a little bit of a vignette once you get it into comp. I know you're still doing that. That'll help. Let me just show that real quick. And then the other one is sorry.
Can we control the light thread
Yeah.
in Arnold?
Yes, you can. This is popping up. Ugh. Hotkey of something crazy. No, I don't want that. I don't want any of this. I don't know what's happening. Yes, you can. So a couple things that you can do. Hold on, let me just finish this real quick. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur, make it blurry. And then, yeah, so just by like adding a little vignette, that'll help. But the bigger thing is with this on the wall back here, there's two things that you can do. Number one is the light that's shining on it. If it's like an area light, you can just kind of, you can limit it so it's more focused on the area in front of the TV. If that's impossible, as the last resort, you can put a light, it's called a light blocker. I think it's called a light blocker in normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do a light
Yeah,
blocker back there on it. And just to make everything back behind it a little bit darker. Light blockers can be a little bit, they can look a little bit fake. So just make sure it's soft and it's a little bit subtle. But you just want to like pull, like it's almost like sucking light out of that space.
Or I can just delink that wall also, no? For some lights that is creating the shadow, no?
You could try. You can try that too.
I think that will also work.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, I think so. I think so too. It's a great part about this is there's more than one way to do these alterations.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's hop over into Kat, and then we will come back to Diana. So Kat, this is your latest and greatest. Wait, this is old?
That's the older one.
Oh, this is old,
Yeah.
and then this is new. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
I was trying. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'll let you start.
So when Francesco was here, he was not. He didn't like how there were two different, like there was so many different temperatures of like colors of light.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically, and he was talking about like not having as much bounce light, basically having everything, trying to make everything the practical lights.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've done is I basically stripped out all the stuff I had in that image and started all new.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all just the practical lights right now, the newer image.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out if I need to, I don't know. I'm so kind of confused right now.
Yeah.
So I'm trying, should I put more, does this look okay? Should I put more color of lights in there?
So
Should I put more bounce on it? I'm not sure.
Not yet. So this is I see what we were trying to do because I like yeah, because I actually think that these light sources look better here because they're brighter and they're more punchy. And what I think that we should do you still have this?
I can probably go back like 5 iterations and find it.
Great. Can you do me
There's somewhere.
Can you do me a favor and just like take off everything that's not like let's do 2 renders. One that is just these light sources with no like additional so are first off, are these like glowing in the shader? Or are these actual light sources?
No, everything on the walls, the sconces, I basically made really low poly light shades, and there's actually area lights inside there.
Okay.
And I've been having some problem with that because how you were talking about wanting to have something look more bright in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So I've ended up actually putting another area light in there and trying to make it smaller. I'm not sure how to make it work right. I don't know if I just made the shader wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
But those are basically all area lights. And then inside a shade. Yeah.
So don't worry about getting the smaller light glow in there yet. what I would like to see is just 2 passes. One with everything turned off except for these lights, and then another one with everything turned off except for these 2 overhead lights. So no bounces, no fills, no light linking, none of that. Because I think one of the things that we want to see is like because all we really want is like a soft overhead light from this kind of doing its thing, and then I would like to see these red lights behind her, really kind of creating like a rim on her. But I kind of want to play with that balance a little bit. So would you mind just rendering those out separately and sending those over?
Yeah, I'll track it down and do that.
Okay.
And yeah, so, and I'm actually learning I'm doing everything on different render layers with this new one. So
Great.
That's a new experiment I'm trying. So I haven't done a lot of render layer stuff before.
That's great.
So
that's great
the
practice.
new one is 3 different passes. So this one, it was just all in the render.
Cool. Yeah, because I think what he's reacting to, and I totally get it, is that like because this red looks really nice, and then like combined with the kind of the green of these overheads is really cool. Where it starts to get like muddled is we're seeing some blue over here, and then the color of the light that's on her is somewhat neutralized. So it's like it's when we start to kind of add that layer of complexity. So I think we can find a good balance. So just send those over and we'll take a look.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Thanks.
All right, Diana. Very cool stuff. I think like. So, Andre, you still here? I was like looking at this rolling off into this darkness is nice. Yours doesn't need to go that dark, but I like the brightness rolling off into this.
Yeah, see that.
And then for Diana, I think the one thing I really want to see out of this end shot is I want to see more rim on her. I really want to play up her light and maybe push the light behind her a little stronger, because I really want to play up her dark over light with rims on her in this last pose. This one looks really good. I think tonality wise, like if you look at this last frame, I think her structure works good when her hair is a notch darker than her skin tone, and here I think they're getting a little bit too close. I would like to see maybe just make her hair a little bit darker. These pipes look really good. There's some nice haze back there. I think that's all looking good. Maybe the source light on these can go a little bit brighter. I think maybe we're seeing too much of the light itself. Like perhaps if we just let's make a ghetto thing here. If we made that brighter. Like, just so that the center of it starts to kind of go blur all the way out to a white, I think that would be good. And then I'm curious as to these interactive lights from the effects. I think they look really cool. I just want to make sure that there's enough like light popping out from them to actually illuminate some of the surrounding objects. I think that would be cool too. But it's tough to tell just from the stills. So just make sure that that's coming through. But her skin tone looks really good. Like her abdomen, like this variation in tones looks really, really nice. And again, it's staying true to the darker tone with the variation in specularity, which is great. Yeah, everything else is looking great, man. Yeah, I think that's it. So let me know if you have questions. That's all for today. Again, don't forget, tomorrow, get those submissions done. Very cool stuff. Like I said, if you have movies, great. If you have stills, that's fine too. I'm not going to, we're not going to fault somebody for not being able to render 200 frames or whatever, however long the length of the shot is. It's tricky. We're not studios. We're individuals with laptops and such. So I'm not going to hold that against you all. Anything else before we break for the day? All right. Thank you all very much for joining, and I will look to see you again tomorrow. All right. Be good, guys. Happy lighting.
Bye.
Bye, guys.